we're gonna roll through maybe not every, but we're gonna roll through a lot of the current day Devil Fruit users in the story of One Piece and see if their powers can likely be negated by very strong Haki users. Around the same level of Big Mom and Kaido on the rooftop during Onigashima, because we know for a fact that Law could not move Big Mom or Kaido in his room during that rooftop fight, because casually their Haki was that strong. It wasn't until later on that fight in that whole raid where against Big Mom he could apply the Re-Room, his awakened ability, to Big Mom, and no herders were heard ever since. Also, we're going to be focusing on the current pool of power users because in theory, any power could slide past Haki negation if the power user is strong enough. And that's just no fun. Let's focus on the current batch of people and keep things way more entertaining here. And if you agree, thumbs up for your boy without a damn doubt. Subscribe to the channel and click on that bell to join the notification squad. Also, for the sake of fun, but keeping things in a nice and orderly manner, we have timestamps where in the box below, so you can see which character and ability I'm talking about versus very powerful Haki. Now, the last but also very important thing we need to talk about here before we dive head first is what exactly is being negated. So for example, Palin Alabasta is a power user and he can fly around, have fun with his Falcon ability. But if Mihawk does some intense Haki to Pell, does Pell just stop flying? Like it's a somber EMP to Soldier 76 in Overwatch and he just stops running? What? Is that how that works? No, not exactly. Because the keyword here I said last time was apply. Law could apply the Re-Room to Big Mom later on in the fight during the Onigashima raid. So let's focus on that particular aspect of Devil Fruit powers. Strong Haki abilities can at times negate applied powers that would normally alter the target in some way, shape, and form. With strong enough Haki, the target will be able to break out or negate completely the applied Devil Fruit ability to them. And with that in mind, it does dwindle down the pool of power users that can apply their abilities to a set target. So let's get the groups that barely fit the bill out of the way first and foremost. The Zoans and the Logia. The vast majority of Logia and Zoan ability users do not have the power to apply their abilities to a target. The predominant buff that you get from eating a Zoan power is to improve your physical traits, and Logia to become the very embodiment of that element themselves. Maybe Logia awakenings can actually change the composition of a certain target. So let's say, for example, a Kainu could touch a tree and the tree itself becomes magma. But that right now has yet to be seen. But I can see some people having questions about the Logia and the Paramecia, and then what it means to have a power applied to a target, and things of that sort. So let's tackle these questions right now. Black Maria's Rosanna Gale Grover Jelly. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right, because that's a tough one, no lie. But her spider power can produce poison, and someone who is poison does have a change to their body, technically speaking. However, in her case, it's more of like a frontal attack that's in the same vein as, let's say, a poison dart hitting someone on the arm, or let's say getting bitten by a snake on the leg. The snake or the poison dart, let's say, isn't giving you poison by default. The same thing goes for Monet's snow ability and Kuzan's ice ability, where they lower body temperature. You can argue they're in the same vein as taking a very cold shower. Or let's say Marco's Phoenix Stone ability that we see in chapter 998, a sort of support-based ability that he does to help regulate temperature. It's in the same vein of having your thermostat either on or off. Let's say even Caesar Clown, where Caesar Clown has hallucinogenic gas, shown in the cover story of chapter 1059. I would say that's like akin to one hell of an ayahuasca trip. Is it the case, I'll say probably, that Haki could be used to suppress, maybe even cancel these sort of afflictions outright? Yeah, sure, why not? A lot of times willpower and Haki they do these things. We saw in chapter 1081, Garp just bust out of Kuzan's ice ball. The same move he did to Whitebeard during Marineford, but no frostbite, no frozen to the bone, nothing. And all the while emanating just oodles of haki. But I do want to make the distinction here that, let's say, an applied power versus like an affliction, at times they are wonky, of course, obviously. But I would say with the Logias and Zoans, for the most part, there is a difference. And so right now, the only two cats that you could argue really matter the most among the Logia and the Zoans would be, number one, obviously, for the Zoans, Monkey D. Luffy, the Monkey Jesus, where Luffy, when he hits you in Gear 5, he's literally altering the composition of your body into rubber in some crazy, stretchy, wonky, zany way. Kaido knows firsthand. Luffy's hands literally stretch Kaido's eyeballs before he blasts out of his body. Luffy's the case here where he does apply his powers to a person and thing and clearly passes the Kaido Big Mom Haki negation test with flying colors. The second guy, Marshall D. Teach, aka Blackbeard, Mr. All Day Every Day. Teach is a strange one because with the Yami Yami no Mi, he has a thing called Kujaku. He has the ability to shut down Devil Fruit powers. The exact details are unclear, but the end result here is that we see with Ace, he stops his Logia functionality. One of the most important things of a Logia use is intangibility. They are that element itself, and they can't be harmed through normal means. But they stop being intangible. Even Luffy, who's a Paramecia/Zoan, when he got corrosed and impelled down, the rubber properties that would normally get so much damage from, let's say, flying into an object, that stopped. And when he got smashed to the ground, there was blood, and Crocodile was shocked to see that. But the question is, let's say if Ace or if Luffy at that point in time in the pre-time skip, if they had Big Mom or Kaido levels of haki, would it still work? You can make the argument that Blackbeard in the pre-time skip may not have actually been able to have the Black Vortex nullify the powers of Ace and Luffy if they have those haki levels in the pre-time skip. But post-time skip Blackbeard, I think passes. He is much stronger now, and at this point in the story, in the final saga, I think that no matter who you are, if you have a power, strong haki or not, your powers will somewhat be nullified by Blackbeard. And now let's focus on the guys that really matter the most for the video. Finally, the Paramecia. First of all, let's start here with the Paramecia. A man that sets another standard for this, Q. In chapter 1063, Law broke out of his sick ability fruit, and the gender change disease that was in the submarine no longer affected Law and company. So people like Big Mom and Kaido with strong natural passive haki would not be affected, I would say, by the sick fruit and Q. After that, we have Law. Law does pass because we see with the OPOP fruit, oh my goodness, awakening can affect even strong haki users, and we see that with the Re-Room. And the same thing applies for Eustace Captain Kidd. He also passes with the magnet fruit because he could apply magnetism to Big Mom and she herself became a magnet. Now those were all obvious picks. Let's get more interesting here. Eva Chan, Ivankov, and the hormone fruit. I would say that Ivankov is kind of in the same vein as Q. Law was able to negate the sex-changing effects of the sick disease and return from being a woman to a man. Ivankov, with the hormone ability, I don't think could change the gender of a strong haki user, similar to the caliber of a passive Big Mom and Kaido. I would say it can be done to where you can negate and even reverse the effects of Ivankov's horn change fruit. And like with Q, another member of the BB Pirates, I don't think it affects strong haki users, once again on that Big Mom and Kaido passive level. And that would be Augur and the warp fruit. The bedrock of this video was founded because of chapter 1009's existence, where Law could not teleport, switch, warp Big Mom or Kaido to the lower levels of Onigashima, so it can actually have a 1 versus like 5v fight. So if that's the case, even though we do see Blackbeard get warped by Augur, there's a chance here that Big Mom and Kaido passively, if they didn't want to at least, they wouldn't be moved by Von Augur and his war powers. I would argue in the same vein as Law, it would apply to Von Augur too, particularly when Von Augur is not awakened. After Von Augur, Foxy. Foxy and the slow fruit, the Noru beams. Negated. The Noru photons would be flat out negated, or if someone does slow down, they can, let's say do a Law did, muster their haki, and then break out of the effects of the slow beam. Absolutely. 100%. And after Foxy, another 100% is Wapol. Wapol, with his munch fruit, can consume human beings, alter their composition in some crazy way, and then combine them into like a whole new entity. We see that with Chess and Kumarimo in chapter 147, where they combine into Chess Marimo. So if Wapol had the unmitigated gall, if he had the audacity to try and take a bite out of Big Mom, why? It won't work. The haki she exudes is too strong, and she will not get munched down and mutated by Wapol's munch power. The same would go for, let's say, Law, probably Kid. Anyone that can exert very strong haki, yeah, Garp, it's not happening. Not happening, no way, no how. After Wapol, Shu. Shu with the Rust ability, Correctamundo. Shu was the one that did rust away very quickly the Yubashiri sword that Zoro had a while ago. And he could apply his rust to Zoro when he touched him, but that was Zoro back then. What about Zoro now? Could Shu just touch Zoro and then Zoro's chest starts to rust? I don't think so. I think that Zoro, let's in the same vein as at least Law, Zoro could just exert haki and then the rust will erode away or start to reverse, wherever it's gonna be. And I would say for folks like Kaido and Big Mom, it wouldn't even work at all. Like they were covered in Coca-Cola. Passively, the rust would just, no chance. No chance, so that's what you got. After Shu, Gecko Moria and the Shadow Fruit. Gecko Moria himself, on the eve of his defeat, talked about the fear of the new world in the pre-time skip. I don't think Gecko Moria could take the shadows of Big Mom and Kaido passively. No. And other strong haki users can either flat out negate that or even break out of it. There is the case of Inupi in Thriller Bark, chapter 451, where their dog penguin creation that has Sanji's shadow, it refuses to kick a woman, no matter what. And like in the case with Oar's Luffy, he didn't want to immediately be following Gecko Moria. I think that this is a case here that strong wills can operate within the shadow themselves, even outside of the user. And one of the core component of haki is willpower. So I would say that, again, for guys like Big Mom and Kaido, negated, not happening, just by default, one. And then two would be, if your shadow could get taken, potentially, you can just get it back. Where Gecko Moria tries to cut the shadow off, but it doesn't work because the willpower of the haki user is too powerful. It's too strong. After Moria is Perona. Perona with the hollow fruit, where we all know the ghosts go through someone's body and then they get very depressed to the point where their life outlook is grim at best, if non-existent. I do not think that happens with strong haki practitioners. Whether it's negated outright by Big Mom and Kaido levels, or you can break out of it, or the effects are greatly mitigated if someone's haki is that high, particularly passively. Because you can argue if it does happen, it'd be very hard to kind of mentally break out of that in the moment. Even if, let's say, it's someone like Kid or someone like Law, they could probably maybe get slightly irritated or depressed, but that's it, and they keep pushing. Or maybe for the memes, it actually does it full bore. But I have my doubts. If you're on that Big Mom, Kaido, passive level haki, the ghosts hit the person, they go dink. Like a rock hitting armor. Dink, no, not happening. And after Perona, let's tackle Don Quixote Doflamingo with the string ability. Flamingo does that one skill called the parasite string, where the parasite string seems to affect the person in some odd way. I think it's a spinal. I think it's a spinal thing where the string does hit the lower neck and then starts to control someone via the spine. I would say strong haki, nah. Big Mom, obviously given their innate toughness, not gonna happen. Even if it does bypass that toughness in some weird crazy situation, I would say their haki would negate the effects completely of the parasite string, and Doflamingo could not control a strong Haki user, break out of it entirely. Someone like Law, I would say now, Kid, Gulp, I would say now those guys could, with strong Haki, Luffy clearly, they could break out of the parasite string for sure. And now let's jump over to Blueno, the man that used to work at a bar with the door ability. In chapter 385, he did swipe at Luffy's skull, and then his face became a rotating door. I don't think it happens at all, to a strong Haki practitioner. That gets flat out negated. But let's say worst comes to worst, the door happens, but only slightly, then it comes back to normal. Just like that, because they exert their will, and the will forces the power to subside much quicker than usual, if not, again, negated at all. After Blueno, we have Kalifa. Kalifa with the bubble fruit. The golden hour we see in chapter 408, she applies her power to the person and makes their body way too slippery. Again, strong Haki, no. I want to have grooves, I want to have toughness. I am not a smooth brain. This is not happening, not today. I think strong Haki breaks out of it, or again, it does not happen in the first place. No shot, no way. But after Kalifa, we have an odd case here. It's our good old boy Brook. Yeah, that's right. Brook with the revive fruit. Brook's soul does operate on a higher frequency than most. We did see in chapter 635 him hypnotize a whole bunch of fishmen. It's not clear if that was just a music thing or if it's music plus power thing, because his soul has that higher frequency. And if it is, let's say, mostly music and the power is there somewhat, I would kind of give Brook a pass. I'm not gonna say flying colors like Luffy, but maybe a D-. Maybe. Yeah, again, his powers may be involved there. Maybe, but I'm not too sure. So this could be a whole mood thing of Brook where it's just music and that's it, music alone, but I'm not too sure. Hypnotized by Brook's music. So I feel like there could be a soul thing to it there. And that's why Brook is here, where Brook is subtly, through his music, applying his powers, therefore hypnotizing you via your soul. I don't know. That's why Brook, I think, could get a pass here. I do. And another person that's also very tricky here, after Brook, is Basil Hawkins. That's right. The straw fruit. The thresholds of making a straw doll out of Big Mama Kaido, I think, are not necessarily impossible. But keep in mind that if he could, then his chances for escape would have been way higher than 0 when he met Kaido. He wouldn't fear the Empress as much as he does now, where we saw during Wano Country, he was petrified of them. He made a straw doll out of Kid. Kid does have conqueror's Haki. Keep that in mind. He has every 3 Haki type, including Conqueror's Haki. So on paper, he does have pretty strong Haki. We do not know how, the process by which he makes these straw dolls in the first place. So maybe, in theory, given enough time, he could make a straw doll out of someone like an emperor. But in the middle of a fight against an emperor, he wouldn't have enough time. I haven't got time to create that straw doll, if he even could in the first place. So it kind of gets wonky here because we just don't know how he makes his straw dolls in the first place. Let's say, for example, maybe he could do it if the emperor was captured, he had enough time to analyze, to grab onto, like whatever is necessary to make one. Maybe it could happen given the right conditions. So part of me wants to give Hawkins actually a pass. I do. But again, because of the terror he holds in his heart for the emperors. Fear. The portrayal of it ultimately feels like Hawkins will not be able to affect the emperors with his ability in any form. You can argue an F+, like he gets a 64 out of 100. He almost got a D, 65, maybe? I'm gonna still fail him nonetheless, plus or not. After Hawkins, we have Kujaku. Kujaku with the whip fruit. She is a disciplined woman that can infuse obedience into whoever she whips. Oda, I see you. I've seen those SBSs, man.
He busted his nuts deep inside. Yeah.
Oda knows what he wants. And in chapter 1080, Kujaku might have whipped some lads into shape. But I don't think it happens. To Kaido or Big Mom? No. To Law or Kid? No. To Garp? No. To Zoro, Luffy, Sanji, yeah, because Sanji, you know, he has his own, yeah. But I would say, for the most part, strong Haki users, they do negate the power of Kujaku's Whip Fruit. That's all I'd say. The next person may get a pass here, and that is Tsuru. Vice Admiral Tsuru with the Wash Fruit. We really don't know that much about Tsuru at all as a fighter. However, she may be awakened and may have some pretty damn good Haki herself. So she could be, let's say, similar to Law and similar to Kid, where she is Devil Fruit focused for the most part, but does have good Haki to amplify her abilities. But if she has Conqueror's Haki and Awakening, maybe she could wash Big Mom's hair. Maybe she could, like Jesus, wash Kaido's feet. Have to wait and see in the future. After that, Boa Hancock. Also, maybe a pass. Boa Hancock, with her love fruit, is very powerful. We see that. But she does have Haki. She is very similar to Kid, where she has all three types. And maybe Boa Hancock is also awakened too. So like with Tsuru, it's a pass, but maybe, because right now we just don't know. Particularly because I would argue the gender of the opponent also matters too. Where, let's say, Big Mom could negate flat out Boa Hancock's abilities, but Kaido may be a little more devious. Where Kaido, he sees what he likes, and then that makes him more susceptible to Boa Hancock's power. So you can see how, in some sense, the matchups could matter too, right? The matchup favors Big Mom or any other female that has Haki of her level versus Kaido or any other guy that has Haki of his level. Boa Hancock, pass, maybe. Tsuru, pass, maybe. But who I will not give a pass to is Sugar. Sugar with the hobby fruit. Sugar, we all know, she's notorious for this. She touches someone, they turn into a toy. Dressrosa was a scary time for that reason. One touch, boom. Toy, and you are erased from everyone's memory across the globe. That's crazy. However, if you're Big Mom and you're Kaido, little Haki passively, and then no. Touch Kaido, touch Big Mom, it's not working. Wah, cry, freak out face, pass out. Sugar gets handled quite easily. And the same thing I would say goes for her cohort, Giolla, with the art power. Giolla, in chapter 714, did alter the bodies of Nami, Brook, Chopper, Momonosuke, and company. But again, Big Mom, Kaido, Giolla doesn't have, at this point in time, the capabilities to, I think, no, it's just not happening. It's just not happening with Big Mom and Kaido levels of Haki passively. No way. No shot. And the same thing I will apply to Capone and the castle fruit. Not necessarily an applied ability onto the person until the person enters Capone's range, and then they shrink down to fit within his own castle frame, his own castle body, if he's not in Big Father form. Could that work on Big Mom and on Kaido? Maybe, but I'm gonna say no. I would say that there's a good chance here that passively, or let's say even if they start to flex a little more Haki, they could break out of Capone's castle weird barrier thing that force you to shrink down to fit inside his body. Particularly when Capone could have, let's say, had that be part of his plans to try and take out Big Mom. Like shrink her down, go into the castle of himself, and then just gank her. However, that was never thought in his mind. So I think that that is a negatory on Capone. After Capone, Mont D'or, and the book fruit, the world of books. Could Big Mom or Kaido break out of the world of books, like we see in chapter 847? Yeah, because honestly, the world of books doesn't have like an actual genuine seal per se. It's actually kind of like a domain expansion, or kind of like a reality marble in some sense. Think of like Kingdom Hearts Winnie the Pooh stage, where you get stuck into the book. But I would say that in the world of books, at the bare minimum, they could negate it wholesale. So the world of books could encompass Kaido into the book itself. The same goes for Big Mom. That's what I would say. And after him, let's get to Smoothie and the ring fruit. Like in chapter 846, could she just wring out the juices of Big Mom's leg, of Kaido's arm? I'm gonna say negatory. She may be able to do that to, let's say, Law and Kid, but I think they'll probably break out of that very quickly and have their juices contained, and they'll be fine. That's what I would say for let's say that level of Haki. So Big Mom and Kaido, wholesale, passively, no. After this, we have Viola. Viola with the glare fruit. With her, it's kind of tricky here because it's not really like an applied power per se, but she does have this thing called peeping mind, where she can actually read the mind of another person. We see with Sanji. So could a strong Haki user prevent their minds from being read by Viola? I would say so. I don't see that being an issue at all. And I would apply the same thing to another mind manipulator, Pudding. We all know, Pudding with the memo fruit, she can reach into people's heads, like literal actual heads, and grab a film reel and then manipulate that film as she so chooses to, like we see in chapter 851. Will this work on a strong Haki user? No. Pudding, like many other cats with busted powers, Foxys and the Sugars and the Violas, their physical specs, they're not that great at all. They lack a lot of powerful Haki, and they clearly overly rely on their powers to be effective. A lot of times they don't seem to be anywhere even close to on the verge of awakening their powers. And it seems like in the story of One Piece, things like Haki are also used to amplify the powers of different abilities. That's what I would personally argue. Because Pudding has really no other skills other than her powers, I don't think she can go into Big Mom's mind or Kaido's mind and just grab the film reel and just start cutting. No. At least when they're active. Maybe if they're passed out, knocked out, but actively out and about, passive Haki, hell no. The same thing goes for Kelly Funk and the Jacket Fruit, chapter 716. That is weird. The Jacket Fruit is weird because he is controlling people's minds and so on and so forth. Bro, by completely covering their bodies. That's weird. But would that work with Big Mom and No. I would say flat out negate it. Zip it up, bust out. Will it be a bit gory? Probably. But flat out negate it passively by the powers of Big Mom and Kaido. Folks like, again, the kids and the laws and so on, they break out too. Not a big deal. After that, we have Mansherry with the heal fruit. Mansherry, if Big Mom and Kaido really didn't want to get healed by Mansherry's tears, then sure. I don't see why they can't just say, no, Haki up, flex a little bit, not a big deal. Don't touch me. In fact, you know what? We all know, because we see with Shanks, I want wounds. More buffs. Don't touch me, don't heal me. After Mansherry, Belo Betty with the pump fruit. Pump it up. So let's say, for example, Kaido wants to stay depressed and drunk. Tears in his beers. He's on that Jimmy Butler mindset, up in his feelings, okay? He wants to ride the emo train for a while. Kaido's like, yo, don't stop trying to motivate me. Get out of here, all right? I'll be sad today. It's like, I'll be sad all week. Don't touch me. Belo Betty can wave a flag all she wants to. I don't think Kaido's changing. I think Kaido's going to be sad for the entire damn week because passively, this man's Haki is just too damn high. The will to be emo, the will to embrace Marilyn Manson is too damn strong, and there's nothing she can do about it. That's what I would say. So she also gets negated by Haki wholesale. But who does pass? I think Magellan and the venom fruit. Yeah. Magellan's attacks, I would say, are in a similar vein to a snakebite. Just like the Rosa Miguel Grova Jelly, the one that I hate that name, bro. Black Maria's power, whether it's the Hydra or the poison gas bullets, he's not necessarily applying the power to someone, except there is one weird exception, I think. The Venom Demon. The Venom Demon is some serious business, bro. This is no joke, bro. In chapter 547, the man himself said that he could destroy all of Impel Down with the Venom Demon. The Venom Demon was actually afflicting inanimate objects, including Mr. Three's wax. How? People that had the Venom Demon in them were touching other cats like their clothes, and their clothes were getting affected by the Venom Demon. And then as a result, that person themselves would also get the Venom Demon. The Venom Demon's serious, bro. There's a reason why a lot of cats preach the good word of Magellan. It's because of that, man. To me, what he's doing is that he is directly applying the venom of his ability to inanimate objects and even living people. And it spreads almost like some sort of contagion, there's a good chance that this is an awakened ability. Not confirmed, but there's a very good chance it is. I think he clears. To be fair, you can argue that strong Haki can, let's say, mitigate the effects, where like the Venom Demon doesn't pass as quickly, you can suppress it in some way. But I think even with strong Haki, I think yeah, bro. I think the Venom Demon's the real deal. Big Mom and Kaido are freaks, and I think it won't kill them because they're just so powerful. They're so powerful, it's insane. But passively, I don't think they could just snuff out the effects of the Venom Demon. Actively, if they had to exert more Haki, flex more Conqueror's Haki, Marvel Haki, fair enough. But their passive Haki versus power, I'm gonna lean towards his power. So I would say Venom Demon, watch out, because it's deadly, very deadly. I'll give him a C or B on the report card. And after that, we have Bluegrass, the last person on the list, where recently we see in chapter 1094, she can ride anything she wants to. Well, I don't think she could just ride Big Mom. Can she ride Kaido? Who knows? He may. I don't think get here, bro. No. All right, maybe in her younger years, but not now. Okay, it's a different ball game. It's a whole different ball game. Big ups to Bluegrass, and big ups to this video because that's it. Obviously, I'm not perfect, so let me know what I missed. Things we have to touch upon in the future. Let me know your stance on the Haki negating X power from X person, and that is that. So, if you enjoy this video, give your boy once again a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click on that bell to join the notification squad. I'm gonna catch you guys and gals on the flip side.
See you. Bye bye.